I'm feeling
Oh, there
old.
you are. Coolio. That's a
Hey, can you?
perfect background. Pretty much looks exactly like my trailer.
Yeah, man. My I tried to set this thing up so it's kind of like a mobile office in a way.
Okay.
It's funny because like I have like a standing desk behind me, and then to my left I have my miter saw station, but I can turn it into like a sitting desk if I wanted to. Um, how does it sound on your end? Because it is
Uh,
raining here.
on
Just
mine it's good. You may want to take your AirPods out because the last guy said his AirPods were kind of an issue. I don't know if they might be causing a little, but on my end you're good to go.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I put them in because it's raining here, and so you can really hear the rain on the roof.
Gotcha.
But it's like, you pick your battles because it's like if I'm inside, my youngest, he will crawl in my lap and he will take this all over. He will be
Well, I'm
100%
up.
part of it.
I'm upstairs away from the kids because yeah, they're the same way. Like
Yeah.
I'd probably be able to do it, but like you said, they'd be crawling all over me the whole time and everything. It'd be like all
Yeah.
they want to do is wrestle, you know?
We don't have me and my wife don't have like separate room offices. I have like a little desk that I made like at the top of my staircase because there's like a corner. And I don't really need an office, man. Like I'm always out in the field. I need to I've figured out how to make everything as mobile as possible.
Yeah.
I've never been on Zoom before. Apparently,
Well,
I've never used it.
well, that's the same with me. Like I have the Milwaukee backpack and stuff, and I tell people all the time. Now, in the past, my my tool belt, I could take my tool belt anywhere in the country
Yeah.
and work. But now, like now it's that backpack. If I take that backpack everywhere, I have everything I need to make money, to,
Oh,
line
dude,
people up and like, yeah, 100%.
did you get the there's like two backpacks, right?
Not the
Um
$300 one, just the
uh
$100. Dude, that structured backpack's like 329 bucks.
I
And I'm
know.
like, dude, I love you,
I know.
Milwaukee, but there is no way I'm spending 300 on a backpack. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
It's just not doing
I got it.
it.
I got it.
I'll
And
spend that on pack outs all day long, but not a
yeah.
backpack. Yeah.
Yo, you know what? I was so stuck between Vito and Milwaukee, and the only reason they won out is just because I could throw the little pack outs at the bottom of it.
Yep.
And so when I'm doing the commercial work, it's nice that I can man, it gets heavy. It gets
Yeah,
heavy. You're gonna
yeah.
put that lower back to work. But
Well, you
it's
seen the
nice.
video of the guy, he has the backpack and then he clips the pack out vacuum to it, and then he just
Uh-huh.
walks around with the vacuum on the backpack.
Oh, that is
I've
smart,
done it
man.
once before. I've done it once before. It actually works pretty good.
Man, you know what? So here's my deal. I'm not a Milwaukee guy.
Well, I can see
Um,
you got a good mix of stuff. It looks like Milwaukee
oh,
got DeWalt, Makita. Is that Festool tracks up top?
yeah. So no, the 8 foot track. So for me to get the 8 foot Makita track, um, it was going to cost an arm and a leg for like
Yeah.
shipping. And it was like $200 cheaper for me to go to oh, what's the woodworking store? Uh Woodcraft, to go to
Okay.
Woodcraft in Atlanta. It was $200 less than having them ship me the Makita track that was 8 foot. But no, I do have some Festool. I love their vacuum. Their vacuum is
The
I you can't
Festool vacuum is top notch. Yes, it
is
is.
hands down. I've got the Walt HEPA vacuum. So all right, tool wise, I'm not like tool loyal. There's a few tools that I'm like I do like Pass Load. I do like Martinez. Um, I'm not gonna say like I'm gonna like die for them, but I do like them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, DeWalt is just the old guys that I started with. They were on DeWalt, and it's like once you buy in and you start getting those batteries and you start getting those tools, it's hard to like just say, "Well, I'm gonna just throw everything away and start over." I don't know how
Yeah.
guys do that. I'm proud of them. I'll say that. I'm very proud
Well,
of those guys that decide they want to toss all those tools aside and go somewhere else. But yeah.
yeah, I was all Makita when I first started, but what
Uh-huh.
Milwaukee started coming out with all the stuff like around. I graduated high school in 2013, so around 2014 to 2018, like Milwaukee was going nuts with the battery stuff. And I
Oh
had all
yeah.
Makita, but all my Makita stuff got stolen out of my truck. And
Ugh.
after that
Yeah.
day, I took it from a side. I go, well, I've been eyeing all the Milwaukee. I need all
Yeah.
new shit. And then
Yeah.
that's when I made the switch. But like you said, it's all about batteries, at least the battery powered side. It's all
Yeah.
about batteries. Once you get all that stuff, you're kind of set in those. And then like my
Yeah.
epoxy gun, the Simpson epoxy gun runs off of Milwaukee batteries. So
Oh.
there's some products like that that use the same
Yeah.
battery layout. Um, but again, like Bosch, I have Jackhammer,
Yep.
Husqvarna for all my like gas saws and all that stuff.
Yep.
Like, so I do mix around, but I do.
Oh yeah.
I am a Milwaukee fanboy. I won't lie about that.
Yeah. You know what, man? I work with one builder. He's all Milwaukee, and I like Milwaukee. They got good tools, but everyone's got like their really good tool, and then they got the tools that just absolutely suck.
Yeah,
And if there is one tool that Milwaukee has that I like very much, I'll just throw my DeWalt to the side and grab my buddy's Milwaukee. It is his multi tool. That has got to be the nicest multi tool I've ever
yeah,
used. And like I can't think. I've done the Makita. I don't like it. The Waltz I don't like. But my problem with Milwaukee is they can't take a beating, and that's my opinion. I've broken too many of my buddy's tools, and I've barely broken any of mine.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I can be kind of rough on tools, so but yeah,
Well,
I work at heights a lot.
before we go any further, explain to everybody who you are, where you're out of, and
All
what
right.
you do. Because I know it seems like you were doing commercial for a bit, but you're thinking about going to residential. So let me know your story.
All right. So I'm Morgan Eddington. I on Instagram am the Peachy Carpenter. I'm based out of Athens, Georgia. Um, I guess so what I have always been. So when I got into this, it was remodeling and repair. And the best way I like to tell people is it's very heavy on the repair. Um, I do a lot of repair work. And so when I got into this, so let's I guess we're not going to go too far back. We're just going to go back to when I got uh into construction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I kind of went backwards in all this. um I started out in the administrative side. In Philadelphia there was a facility maintenance company, and they took me on as an account manager, and I knew nothing about the trades. All I knew how to do was talk to people, um, read contracts, and
Yeah.
put out fires, and prepare for putting out fires. And I think I did pretty good at that, and it got me a project management job. So we had our first kid in Philadelphia, and I had been promoted in that company at one time, and that ended up getting me a job down here in Athens, Georgia, because after we had my first son, we wanted to move back south. Um,
So
so that
you're
got
originally from that area.
no, I'm from Frankfort, Kentucky.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've moved around a lot. So I was born and raised in Frankfort, Kentucky. At 18, I left, went to college in Savannah, Georgia, and then jumped around a lot after college until me and my wife moved to Philadelphia. And then I had jobs that were there's some trade skill related things, but I wouldn't call it the trades.
Yeah.
But it got me into that facility maintenance job, which then got me the project management job here in Athens. And um, we can go into the whole management thing if you want. I am I have weird feelings about it, but
Well,
um,
just give us a short synopsis on what people should know, you think, what your gripe
uh,
was or whatever.
there's a whole lot more. I like it's more politics than anything, I
Yeah.
suppose. And if you're not somebody who can, you're gonna be dealing. I don't know how to like say it without like you're gonna be putting up with a lot of bullshit. A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
things
yeah.
that you're just like, really, is this a problem? Like, why am I in the middle of this? Why is this happening? And
It's because
and it's, I
favorite.
hate to say it's babysitting, but that's a lot of what it
Yeah.
is. Um, and then, at the end of the day, I knew after years of doing that it wasn't for me, at least not at that moment. Um, and I would always, now keep in mind, I was never a tradesman um before I did what I did. I just
Hmm.
interacted with them all the time. And I always used to see how happy those guys would be. And yes, they had their problems. Everybody's got their problems. But I would see how much more, at least the good guys, my A teams, like how much more relaxed and how much they enjoyed their days. And, um, they were actually making more money than I was. And that's the funny thing you see. And I hate to say money is like a lot of it, but it is kind of enticing you to get into it. But the biggest thing was just how happy they were. Um, so when that project management job did not work out, it was very it we just did not get along. Um, and so I decided to, they ended up letting me go. I knew it was coming. I like in that 24 hours after being let go, I emailed the top three companies in my town. I knew I was never going to hear anything. And because I was a PM and I knew how to find tradespeople, I just went to the lumber yard and I walked in there, dressed, ready to go. I walked onto the site and I said, "Anybody looking for help?" And the guy just grabbed me and took me along with him. And I was with him for 3 years. And that was a very good relationship. He older man, he's 67 now, but he taught me everything. That's what he did, was remodeling and repair. And I couldn't have had a better guy to really be able to wrap my head around all the imperfections that go into a house
Yeah.
or that house is turned into. Um and then I kind of outgrew them. And then it was really funny because like once I understood everything, Um, I remember, he would have other guys coming in and out, and it would always be they would come in at the start of the winter and then leave at the start of spring and go do their own jobs. And then they would come back. And then I remember one of them came back and he was like, "You'll be gone within 6 months." And I had left them within probably less than a month. Yeah. It was funny because those guys, like when they left, they knew me from the previous season they were there. And then
Yeah.
they came back and they would see like all this growth. Um and yeah, it just I had outgrown them and I'd start talking to another guy in town and he brought me on as help at first. And then over the years, I don't know how, positions are weird, but the best way I tell people is I'm just his lead carpenter.
Yeah.
He calls me, brings me in, and he doesn't have to watch me.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
he just says, "Go do this." I go over details with him, and then he mainly mainly watches everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, um,
So that's
but
what you're doing. That's what you're doing today then.
no,
Oh, okay.
no. So, so this is how I've been trying to figure this one out for a while, man. I always tell people being a tradesman's like, it's still the Wild West. I don't know any
Yeah.
other career path where, like I was telling you, those old guys, they would come in and they would work with that general contractor for that season. And then when their work came in, they would leave.
Yeah.
They would go make better money. Um, and so that's always, none, uh, this is a weird conversation because like I've never been an employee since I was a project manager. I've always just been a hired hand
Yeah.
or like a steady hand that's kind of just stayed on. Just been a 1099 employee. There are guys that are out there that are W-2s, but for me, I've always been a 1099. And because of my background in admin, I've been, I got that business. I saw how all those businesses ran. I saw what they did to keep work coming in. Um, and so for me, I have always been implementing that stuff. So I've had, so the way I put it is I have my business, which is primarily repair work. And then there is my subcontracting side, which is going to help like frame, do remodels, additions, whatever. Um, and they only call, so I say I'm a heavy hitter. They call me in when they really got to get the job moving, going, so that they can get to the like to the detail, like the trim work, whatever, where they slow down, and then they send me on my way, and then I do my business. Um, and if you're curious about the commercial work, uh, a company randomly called me like 3 years ago,
Okay.
and I was like, yeah, I'll do y'all's work. What was it? They called me 3 years ago, and they needed me to do everything at night. And I was like, you know what? I can do it. Because then I can handle their stuff, leave that, go work on the builders' jobs, and then take care of my work in the evenings. Um, and so,
It's a
man, you're
pretty
making me.
packed schedule.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. I know you've just started following me. Um, but if you had followed me about 6 months ago, you would have seen I was a train wreck. I
Yeah.
was I was, as I told people, I was burning the candle at three ends. Um, but yeah, um, yeah, six. Yeah, see, you're jumping in like I'm just now. I'm putting a nail in the commercial coffin.
Yeah.
Because it's more or less business. I
Well,
told,
dude, the pays, the net 14, net
yeah,
30 pays, the net 90 pays, the working at
yeah.
night. It's just, dude,
Once
yeah,
it's the steamroll, right? So it's not bad once you get the the first month figured out. So keep in mind, like I was, working at 2 a.m. and then usually because every job was always so everything for the commercial people was starting at 2 a.m. and then I had to be done by 7.
yeah,
So a lot of restaurants. I did gas stations. The medical places want you to work during the day. Um, but you're in there when there's no clients, no customers, so you're not in the way. And they want you out by a very specific time. They want it to be efficient, quick. Um, but yeah, I did that from 2 to 7, and then everybody else on the job sites are there at 8 a.m. So it's just, you jump from one job to the next. And then, if I had like a drywall repair or fascia or something, like any small thing for my business that I could just pop into the evenings, I would go do that. Um, and then when the builders were done with me, I'd fill in with my bigger jobs.
yeah,
Um, but no, I did that for years. Um, and last summer I had decided that the commercial work pays well. I tell people all the time, it's not glamorous at all. I'm not like excited to show people that I'm changing out ceiling tile and I'm fixing bathroom partitions and sinks and you know uh kicked in tile. Like I'm not excited about showing that stuff because it's little piddly things. Um but it pays very well because they need you now.
yeah.
Home repair, people will wait. As I tell people, if your roof ain't caving in and neither is your floor, uh
Yeah, don't worry. I'm still here. Just my video went out. I'll come back
oh.
on, but
Okay,
just
okay,
keep
okay.
talking. Yeah, yeah,
I tell people that if your roof ain't caving in and neither is your floor, you're going to be okay. And
yeah.
they'll wait. Like I've had people wait up to a year for me to come fix their house. But the commercial people will not wait. They all want it done 24 hours or a week. Um, and this is all mostly repair work and refreshes. So they're not pulling me in for big remodels. I've done a few here and there, but they're usually pulling me in to fix something. And then, you're working with nothing's open at 2 a.m. So, you really got to be on top of
You got to
what
have
you
all
can do.
all your materials because if not, you're
Oh,
screwed.
dude, I tell people all the time. There was one time I walked in because I don't go look at the jobs. Um, I don't look at them before I do them.
Hmm.
And they send me photos and send me the best information they can, which is never really the best. It's enough to give me an idea. But there was one time I walked in to fix a counter that was pulling off the wall. And I always tell people, like, I walked in thinking, it was going to be like an easy, maybe 1 hour repair or something. But I gave myself more time for just in case. And I showed up and I did not have any of the materials I needed, none of them. And how they had built this thing made no sense. Like, I would never do this in a person's house. Um, there was a lot of problems I'm not going to like dive into, but more that I was not ready for that job. And so uh, I remember this cabinet right here. I tore it all apart. It was 3 a.m. I'm freaking out. I'm like, I got to get wood from somewhere. Like, I got to get this thing built back up. And that was one of the days they gave me grace to let me stay till 10 a.m. because like they were going to be without a bathroom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got to figure out how to get this thing done. So anyway, last so it the commercial stuff pays well. So last summer, I told all my builder buddies, like, call me in if you need my help, but I'm going to focus on this because it pays well. I had stacked up a lot of work for my own business and I needed to get that caught up. And the commercial stuff was going really like well. Like I was depending on it, and there's the mental aspect that I was just kind of like falling apart, like mentally.
Yeah. Did you start
Um,
doing too many jobs and stuff? And yeah,
you
I've
get
I've been there.
behind, you get behind, but you're also all you're doing is working, right? So you're working, and it's just like that's all I'm doing. And so I decided to completely clear out my residential work, and I wanted to be done by December um, of last year, and I did ended up finishing by December of last year, and then some things have happened in my family that have also taken a lot of stress off of my shoulders from being the breadwinner. Um, and so I pretty much from January until 2 weeks ago just really was doing commercial work. That was
Yeah.
really where my money was coming from. And then I was just taking residential work as I felt. So if it's like an existing client I have, or like somebody calls me with a job that I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to do that.
Yeah.
I was doing that. Um, I don't know how you do your business. Like it sounds like you do the stuff you do is with those sheds. And I don't know if you get your work through that shed company or if it's the clients approaching you and it's not sheds, right? Is it ADUs?
Well, so it goes from sheds to ADUs, but yeah, most of
Yeah.
it comes from that company,
Uh-huh.
but also kind of a mix. Like probably 3 years ago, I started doing YouTube videos for that company just out of the blue,
Yeah.
no contract with them,
Hmm.
and they started getting like 2 to 3 calls a week because of those videos. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of a
Yeah.
mix, you know what I mean?
Dude, we could talk about that too, because I always tell people I have my thoughts on social media and marketing. Um,
Yeah,
I
go
know a
go
lot of,
into it, go for it.
okay. So, all right, I went to college to be a photographer in advertising. That's what I wanted to do when I was younger. Um, and that all, you know, however way that market has gone, I'm glad I am where I am now, but I have not forgotten that skill that I got.
Yep.
And so over the years, I have always tried to take pictures of what I am doing. Before and afters, I think in the beginning there, but now it's more of like showing the tradespeople, showing us working, and then explaining why I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Because how much we're tradesmen. Um, I'm trying to think of like good examples. Like people don't understand what we do and they don't know why we do it. And there's a whole education aspect to what we do um, that is not given to us other than the people that are looking for it. Um, And so I am very big about sharing, hey, these are my tricks, these are my tips, this is why you do this, this is why you do that, so that people can see how the sauce is made. And I always tell people like before and afters are nice. I think they're good portfolio pieces for your website. But social media is social for a reason.
Yeah.
People want to see you. They want to see why you're doing it, why you're the choice that they need. I give all the local guys this talk all the time. Um, and it's ways to like keep that communication going without uh without having like send out like an email or a newsletter or something. Like it's always wild when my clients like approach me and they're like, oh hey, I saw how you did this, or this was going on with your life, or um it's just staying in the loop with everybody because we're all so busy. And that's really like the big thing I try to do with social media is because I always tell people in my mind, social media is like chasing the influencer thing, is a house built on sand. But when you're focused on your community, your local community, like me in Athens, um, when you're focused on trying to, provide for those people and giving them all the information they need, introducing yourself, because I remember when I was in management, the most annoying thing that would happen is when the clients would pull me aside and say, these were not the people I was sold. Um, and so
Okay.
like they didn't know who anybody was. So when I remember one time somebody hired me and they're like, "Oh, you are the guy that does the work." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, it is me." Like, if you go to my website, I state it's me doing the job. This is my face. This is, it took me up until last year to get used to taking pictures of myself, because people would get confused with all the other tradespeople that I work with. But yeah, like, introducing yourself so people aren't quite as awkward once they do see you and they know that you are the professional. Like you're not some guy, what they call them, clipboard contractors or white truck
Yeah,
contractors,
or
or
Chucks and trucks. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
something like
exactly.
that. Guys that just believe, man. I'm just thinking of this job I did a few months ago where a guy was just like that. Like they just show up and they just sit in that truck and then they just send their guys out and they just sit there and they watch the whole time. And
Well,
like they're not doing anything.
sometimes I'm that way. Like now, dude, when it comes to digging shit and everything, bro, I'm not doing that anymore, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
also it
yeah,
becomes too like I'm in a weird spot because yeah, I have a small crew and then I do have a
yeah,
subcontractor and stuff.
yeah.
But dude, I have so much demand. A lot of the
Well,
times I
yeah,
can't be swinging a hammer. Like I gotta be
no,
giving these renderings. I gotta do these
right,
quotes. I gotta order all this material. So it's like it's a
right.
real now it's like becoming a problem because I do want to just like work more and stuff, but my time is better spent
Yeah,
somewhere else. So that's a different. But again, dude, I'll probably be all HVAC in like a year or two. I'm fucking done with these
yeah.
ADUs and
I
stuff.
heard you say that with Blake that you were going
Yeah,
to do HVAC. Is
bro,
that
the HVAC money is just too good. And I make doing one day of work, I make double doing a day of work on one of those sheds. Not that those sheds don't pay me
yeah?
well. I mean, they've done me very well,
Uh huh.
but there's too many factors in these projects, man. The cities, the counties, the
Yeah.
requirements,
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stuff gets slowed down, dude. And then you start doing a project, we're doing that foundation I poured.
Yeah.
That's for a 10 by 14 pool house, but then they want a bathroom in there, a wet sink for a bar, and then they want a sauna. So that has
Uh
all
huh.
been added during the project. You know what I
Oh
mean? And so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
now, which
And
is
that
fine with
stretches out
me,
your
but now we
schedule
have
and
to add that
everything.
into the schedule. And you'll see, dude, like summer's just going. Last year we did 25 of them.
Uh huh.
And like you, dude, I was fucking, you're looking at two a month pretty much from ground to finish, two a month,
Wow.
with about six guys at the most.
Yeah.
So it's like you start pulling your hair out, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, the other thing, it's hard to like try to watch your mouth, right?
Yeah.
Um. Um. Yeah, it as long as you got a good crew, man. Like the hardest part. So let's go into the administrative side, right? Like the hardest thing I have is like So you've been doing it for years. You know what these guys are going through. You know, like the headaches they have to deal with, um, and how to alleviate those headaches, hopefully before they even become a headache,
Yeah.
right? Because you've been doing it for a while. And I don't know how many people that I've gone to work with that they have no clue. They
Yeah.
have no clue, dude. When I was in Philly in that position, I remember my first 6 months were an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. And I learned so like there's this thing in our culture where for some messed up reason we have to put the client first, right?
Yep.
And when you're in management, that is the number one thing is you become very client facing.
Oh, yes.
And you're always trying to kiss their ass. And then you forget about the tradesmen. They get put in the background. And I learned very quick in that first 6 months, I need to focus on my tradesmen because if they're mad, they just piss my client off.
Yep.
And if they're bad, then they come back to me. And it's just this weird circle. And I very quickly turned everything to how can I help you? How can I make your job better? What information do you need? Like, let me set you up so you are not frustrated.
Yep.
And when I did that, I had less mad clients. I didn't have to talk to the clients near as much either, which was amazing. Like, like, because when you're talking to a client, it's never because they're happy. It's
Yeah.
always because
Yeah.
they're mad about something.
Yep.
Um, and so when I did that, like, it changed everything. Um, and now that I'm in the trades spot, like, there are the days where it's like you walk onto the job site and people just look at you and like the client and the whoever's in charge, and then you get written off. And um, whatever your problems are, don't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like I remember there was one guy I did a job for, and this turned into a whole money issue. Which once that becomes like brought into the conversation, nobody's leaving happy.
Yeah.
Um, but never if I had taken that to the client, like there probably would have been an even bigger issue. And all that guy had to do was just like talk to me and be open with me about what the situation was. Because if I'd turned around and gone to the client, guess what? That client's going to be mad. Now all of a sudden he's got a bigger issue. Um, so yeah, so this was one reason why. So when I left that company that I was a PM for, and in hindsight, they never needed a PM. Um, that was the biggest thing is they thought they needed one, they didn't. They just needed salespeople who actually wanted to be part of the projects.
Yeah.
Um, so their projects just went too quick. Like a project manager, we had 13 crews. I couldn't stay on top of 13 crews when every job was being done in a week.
Yeah.
Um, but I left that company because I really didn't know what I was doing. So I was in a management position. I was supposed to, you know, help these 13 crews.
Yeah.
And I walked in and maybe three of the crews were not a nightmare. So three of them were A's, one was a B, and all the rest were C's.
Yeah.
Um and so I had no clue what they were doing, what they were going through, how to put myself in their shoes. Um because in facility management, I had like 250 properties, and it's kind of like a trickle down. Like, it's hard to say because I would never see these 250 properties across
No,
the
I
United
kind of know
States.
because before I was licensed, I ran a 100+ residential and
Yeah,
commercial units for these
yeah,
guys, and I did all the
yeah,
maintenance, and so I
yeah.
kind of know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And when I went to be a PM, we were very much more involved. I was more involved with the crews than I was there, and um, I had gotten a job offer from this company to a better company, and like a company that had a better standing locally. the company that everybody within that trade wanted to go to, and I turned it down because I kept saying to the owner, I wanted to start at the bottom. Like I want to be a grunt. I want to learn the trade. I want to work myself up, and I know I can do it, fast, quickly, but I need to know what these guys go through. How does anybody in a leadership position get respect if they don't understand what their guys are going through?
Correct.
Um, and that guy, he wanted me to be in a sales position, and I kept saying I don't want to do that. So the big interview where you got the job, he invited me to have lunch with all the office staff. I just declined it, didn't show up. Um, and then that's when, I knew I was being let go, and then I went to the lumber yard, and now I'm like almost 10 years into being a bags on guy, and I feel very confident about my knowledge.
Yeah.
Um, I think Blake was raised in this. You were raised in it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was.
So you guys have that leg up, which is amazing. Um, you have that like built on. You grew up just, already having that influence from your father, your
Yes.
mother's, um, whoever it was.
Yeah, dude, I remember we got like went on our like my first job like hired by a contractor.
Uh-huh.
And I remember, dude, he wasn't after 2 weeks, he just stopped watching us, dude. Just me and my buddy, because my buddy was also
Yeah.
a contracting dad. And yeah, dude, he just stopped watching us. And like, I remember him like telling us, like, you guys are the best investment I've ever fucking made. Like,
He
and
was
like,
making money. That's what was going
yeah,
on.
no, 100%, dude. Like I had one fuck up there. I did hit
Yeah.
a fire sprinkler line,
Yeah.
and I did water damage some cabinets, but again, it was maybe like $2,500 or something to get them fixed, so it wasn't too bad. I've
No.
had to do worse mistakes for my apprentices,
Oh yeah.
but with all the money we made him, that was a drop in the bucket,
Yeah.
But yeah, we just unfortunately, again, I was digging holes for my dad at 9. I was swinging hammers with him. My dad was a welder, but he never wanted to
Yeah.
teach me welding because he wanted me to go to college. But
Yeah.
and then my mom
Yeah.
owned a hardware store, so I pretty much do
Oh,
what
dude.
every tool
Yeah.
was, what you know what I mean. So yeah,
Yeah. That man, you had a good upbringing. Don't
yeah,
get me
I
wrong, I
know.
had a good one too. I
It'd be
had a
stupid for me not to be in construction. It'd be retarded.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, dude. Like, so are you okay, so your dad was a welder. So, but you're not a second generation like business owner, right?
no, so my dad closed his business in '08,
Uh-huh.
and then he pretty much just fished the rest of his life. He just worked on a sport fishing boat, and so I got
Yeah.
that experience too and everything. So it's probably the best of both worlds. But again, my dad did all the maintenance on that boat. We
Right.
probably tore up that deck 5 or 6 times when he worked there. One time there was
Yeah.
a fire on the boat, and he had to redo all the fucking interior, and like it was a
Yeah.
big thing. And then my dad, when he was done with that, worked in the boat yards, and that's where I didn't work with him in the boat yards actually at all. But because of that, it brought me kind of into the boat making world, at least watching it and everything. And
Man,
that's
that
when
would be
shit gets
fun.
really, really like delicate and crazy because you're working with
Yeah.
all the hardwoods plus
Yeah.
aluminum plus all these epoxies. Like you really think about water in a
Yeah.
different way when you're building a boat. And if you take that one guy, the guy who hired me, who us being the best investment, his name is Kyle. He actually worked
Yeah.
with my dad in the boat yards, and my dad hated Kyle. My dad hated him. And one day I'm working for these guys. They just picked us up randomly. Like we just found them because we had Craigslist
Uh,
ads.
yeah, yeah.
And I remember there was a Irish guy, Dave. He's the guy who taught me a lot of plumbing because he was the plumber and stuff and like the tile guy. So he did all the
Yeah.
plumbing, all the tile, and then Kyle was doing all the carpentry and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
And so he taught me a lot of plumbing. And we're talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Sausalito, mate." I go, "Sausalito, my dad works." He goes, "Who's your dad?" And I go, "Oh, Tony Ibgy." He goes, "You're fucking Tony's son?" He's like, he goes, "Holy shit, mate." He goes, "I gotta call Kyle." And Kyle was in Alaska fishing or whatever. And
Uh,
he like called him immediately. He goes, you know, we got Tony Angie's son working for us. And it was the funniest fucking thing in the world, dude. But again, that guy, he took what he
yeah.
took in the boatyard and took it to like building decks and doing stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like, we would take boat epoxy and we would do the dominoes, the Festool domino
Yeah,
tool
yeah,
on
yeah.
all our deck joints, on all our window
Really?
trim joints
What
and shit.
what would?
Redwood, Ipe,
Uh-huh.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Geez, you're working with big boy stuff.
Oh
Man.
yeah, dude. I do. We do a lot of Ipe decks. You're looking at like $12 per linear foot. It's
I
fucking.
know, man. The best wood I've ever worked with is Brazilian teak. I can't Kumaru, I think is what it's
Yeah, yeah,
called.
yeah. It's kind of like a zebra wood or something like that.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah. And
crazy.
boy, like that was that was a heck of a thing to wrestle. Um, being honest with you, a lot of my stuff is either like if I'm doing deck work, it's either composite or just uh pressure treated pine. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
but
pretty much you either do here, you either do a Trex deck, you do a Redwood deck, or you do an Ipe deck. That's
yeah,
pretty
damn
much.
man, you're working on the high end stuff.
Yeah, dude, it's California. I live pretty much just above San Francisco.
Yeah. I
Like
was
dude,
curious where you were in California.
if you want a 10 by 12 slab on a flat grade, you're at like 8,500. It's like $70 per square foot for concrete.
Jeez Louise, man.
Yeah.
It is wild to me. Like, so here's the thing about the South. Atlanta is blowing up. Atlanta is
Yeah.
wildly blowing up. A buddy of mine bought a townhome for before COVID for 400 and it's now priced at 750, I think, or 800
Nice.
maybe.
Yeah.
Since like before COVID. And like all that sprawl. So Athens is only an hour directly east of Atlanta.
Okay.
So a lot of that commercial work I was doing was in Atlanta. Um, and so all that sprawl is starting to head out this way. And I've noticed a lot of people from California and up north moving out here. Probably to Atlanta mostly or to work in Atlanta,
Yeah.
but they're buying homes like there's so many houses popping up between that 1 hour commute between Atlanta and Athens. And everyone is just kind of wondering what's going to happen with the pricing around here because I mean, come on, we're in a time where things are just wildly, you don't know what tomorrow is going to be for prices. Um, so like we're very curious how that all is going to affect out here.
I don't know. In
Um,
Texas, it kind of was like boom bust. Like
yeah,
I went out there, built a house during the pandemic, and that was like exploding.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, but if the growth continues, the pandemic's done, it's like natural growth. It is what it is.
yeah,
Everybody moved out of California during the pandemic to do shit because everything was
yeah.
shut down
Well,
here, you
that's the
know?
same thing. A lot of my friends from college went to New York and they all just started moving here because of the industries that are moving here and are available for them that are also, from New York, but also they can buy a house. They all
Yeah.
were never getting out of their apartments. Um, but I mean, they're buying houses here that, I think are just like a regular, like just a little box. It's like a box up north. They're buying mansions down here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's interesting to see how people are leaving those areas. And in the end of the day, California's going to be fine. New York's going to be fine. Everybody, it's going to be a cycle. Everything's kind of a roller coaster, right? Things go up and then things go down, but it almost always goes back up. I
Yeah.
mean, heck, it's cold here in Georgia right now. The other day it wasn't, but you guys never have to deal with cold, do you? Well, heck,
Got
you're San
40,
Francisco.
40 degrees is probably the worst it gets down to
Yeah,
about freezing. But dude, yesterday it was like 79.
yeah,
I was wearing shorts. And Friday I was wearing shorts at my concrete pour. No, I'm like we're really spoiled with the sun. I hate fucking wintertime.
yeah.
I could never live in Alaska or
Uh-huh.
Washington or any of that where
Yeah,
dude, like because the reduction of sun during the day during the
yeah.
wintertime is already enough for me. And it's like it's not even much, dude. Like most people deal with a lot more.
Oh,
And I don't have to deal with the snow. I
yeah.
hate the fucking snow. I'm a skinny kid, man. I'm like a skinny guy. I'm like fucking 130 pounds. You know what I mean? So it's like the cold goes right to me.
Right.
I love to just have a tank top on and be framing and
Right.
yeah. So I'm
Oh
yeah.
man, Philly, we would always get like two 3 foot snow events at least twice a year. We actually got 4 inches here in Athens this year, which was a lot.
See,
Usually I
I don't
tell
know
people,
how you guys survive the winter. Like half of you can't
oh,
even get to work.
so
You know what I mean?
it rained ice this year. We got like an inch or 2 inches of ice, which was
Yeah.
wild. Dude, growing up in Kentucky, it would rain ice all the time. Like we were
Okay.
used to that. Um, but here, like there was like 1 to 2 inches of ice, and everything was shut down for at least 2.5 days. Like you
Yeah.
were not leaving your house for 2 days.
Yeah.
But I tell people all the time, usually since I've moved to Georgia, now keep in mind I'm North Georgia. I'm not too far from the mountains. South Georgia ain't getting any of this.
Hmm.
But North Georgia, we always get what I call powder sugar. It comes down at 2 a.m. and it's gone by 6.
Yeah,
But they'll
yeah,
still shut school down anyway.
yeah.
Um don't don't ask me why. They're all scared about it. But it's no, the weather here, like we hardly ever get snow, but this year we last year we got it, this year we got it, which is wild to us. Um but for the most part, man, I mean, expect like the summers to be like low hundreds. I'm in what I know about California, you guys way beat us on the 100-degree mark.
Yeah, but the thing
Um
is we don't deal with the humidity.
yeah, we got humidity
That's
here,
the
man,
thing,
and
bro. Being,
it is
dude, when I was
terrible.
in Texas framing
Yeah,
at like 80 degrees and stuff, and dude, in California, I'd be loving it, man. You know what I mean?
really?
But dude, I have a photo of me. You could like see the sheen on my skin from all the
Yeah.
fucking humidity and sweat and
In
everything.
Texas?
It's
Oh,
way fucking worse. And that is probably way that's probably not even as close to the humidity you get. It's just like
oh,
we got a
it,
dry heat. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So it's just it's
yeah.
nicer.
It rains a lot here, and when it after it rains, you just know it's going to be a sauna. Oh,
Exactly.
Florida. When I lived in Florida, that was even well. Florida's wild, man. Like most of the time, like you get the breeze from the ocean, but after it rains, it's a sauna.
Yep.
Um, or no, it's the opposite. Sorry. Before it, when it after it rains, usually the wind comes in behind it, and it's usually pretty cool. But before, like during the day, it is hot and humid as can be.
Yep.
Um, yeah, man, I would love so here's like I have like this weird like so I love working. I love working with my hands. I love building. I have this like weird like idea where I just kind of want to like drive around and like jump on different crews and like just help out and like this is a weird dream because I got kids, right?
Well, that's
But
what I'd be doing if I wasn't married with kids and shit. Exactly. I
it
tell people I have
changes
my tool
everything.
trailer. I literally just drive around,
Yeah.
all around, and just work, and then leave after a bit. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, I
I
would exactly
I
do
see
that.
I see guys that do that all the time, but the craziest thing about social media, man, is like you talk to all these people and you're like, man, I'd love to go work with them for like
Yeah,
just a couple of days, a week, whatever. Um, and I'm trying to figure that out myself because there's guys all up and down the East Coast. I think you're like California, you're probably the furthest guy I talk to. I'm trying to think like other guys out in California I might be talking to, but man, you doing what you're doing, heck, it would just to even do like 1 or 2 days like in-person talks with other people and like
yeah,
because it's cool that camaraderie you like build up like in
yeah.
person sweating, right? Um, yeah, man, thinking
Well,
that
dude, I
out.
mean, that's why I did this like show is because it's like, we go work. I'll work with other subs or like whatever, and then we'll go have a drink at the bar and stuff, and then we
Uh-huh.
chit chat about how everybody, got to where they are, what's going on and stuff. And then I was thinking, I'm like, dude, like these are the conversations people want to hear and stuff. They're kind of stupid, right? You know what I mean?
Isn't
They
it?
aren't like anything crazy, but everybody wants to know everybody's story. You know what I mean? Like all
Yeah.
all young guys ask you is how did you get here? What's your story? And what's this? You know
Oh,
what I mean? And
dude,
so that's why I, ended up doing this. And then same thing,
I
connecting with other people, helping them
yeah.
out, going and doing more work. It's like it's just we all help each other.
Yeah, I know like there's a few podcasts that started out that way, and I feel like they've all kind of gone to the wayside in other directions.
Yep.
You had mentioned something in a story the other day, and that
Yeah,
got to
that modern
me.
craftsman, he actually messaged me and he took the advice kind of. And
Yeah.
so and he
Oh, I
said,
would love it
yeah,
if they would go back to talking to some tradespeople.
yeah, well, and
Um,
he does all those crazy houses, and it's like, yeah, dude, let's talk to the subs about having to, deal with all that stuff, and it's very experimental, and
yeah,
uh, but again, I could tell they are like, who mostly listens to them is like, I guess maybe guys trying to get up to that spec house stuff, but also it's like a lot of
yeah,
architecture people, and
yeah, man.
architecture people, I don't know, man, it's just like. I don't know. I don't really get along with
Yeah,
them. I don't really know why they're on their high horse so much. Like we end up designing 90% of shit that
yeah.
gets installed anyways.
Well,
Uh,
it's because they got that degree, right? They think there's people that once they get a degree, they think that that puts them at some kind of status. It's same thing with like I hate this because I tend to knock people down off of this high horse. People that go from the bags to administrative.
yeah,
Because like ever since I went from administrative to bags, all I hear guys say is I just want to do sales. I just want to do just build the business, whatever. And I'm always like, do you? Do you really? Because what you're kind of losing here is you're going into management. And are you managing people or are you going to be a leader? That
yeah,
they're two separate things, but you can take management and add leadership to it. You can't it's hard to take, or what am I trying to say here? Like a lot of guys just want to take the bags off and just leave the sweat behind. And then what they realize is they start losing the respect of the guys that they had working with them because now all of a sudden this guy's higher up and doesn't understand like what it takes from the backs being broken
yeah,
to make his business go forward. Like keep in mind when I was sitting in on meetings when I was administrative, everybody swung around a big hammer at that meeting, even though they didn't own one.
mm
Um, and then the moment any of the top crews said that they were done, I would watch these people freak out. I'd watch them scatter. All of a sudden, like they don't know how this business is going to run without this person. They're not saying that to their face,
yeah,
but I'm in these meetings talking, we're trying to figure out what's the backup plan and everything. Um, and that's one of the things why I have so much more respect for tradespeople. Um, like the guys who are actually sweating, breaking their backs, the guys who show up and get it done. And I have to say get it done because like there are guys I work with that are just showing up for a paycheck.
yeah,
The This is how we've always done it. And you know what? We need those guys. We need them to keep it moving. But there's always that one or two guy on the crew that are like they're the heart and soul. And take away that architect, take away that PM, take away the business owner, whatever, right? That guy, that heart and soul, they're going to keep going,
yeah,
right? But without that person, those people at the top, you know, yes, they put a lot of money in for their education, for their degree, all that stuff. Um, I think I don't know if it was you or someone else, but like this comes up a lot that like we're paying our college dues too by the money we lose all the
yeah,
time. Last year, the first 6 months of last year, I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of money, and I was I was very mad about that money I lost, but it taught me some stuff.
yep,
I learned a lot from that, and it hurts. And every year, you're going to lose money somewhere, and you hope you take that as a learning lesson to not repeat somewhere else. But um the hands-on stuff that we learn on the job, like these people, like college is nice. Okay, I went to college, and when I stepped out of college I realized I was not set up for success. I had some knowledge, but I was not set up to go out and just like rock the world. And I find out that more and more people go to college and they get this basic knowledge, but then when they get sent out into the real world they really can't work with the big dogs or anywhere. They don't have that hands-on knowledge. There is a construction manager I worked with on a project last year. She went to college, very, very much wanted to let me know how she ranked as a construction manager. Pulled me in to move a wall. And then in all this, like she would like look at me and like just to confirm that that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, didn't you just spend a lot of money to go to college just for me to turn around and tell you, yeah, yeah, that's we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that. Like there were so many things out of whack, out of process. And again, this is one of those things where I just don't want to like go too deep into it, but um I could not figure out how she was a PM um and just didn't know the processes to get
Yeah.
from point A to point B. Um
Yeah,
but
but again, that's why unfortunately everybody does have to start from the bottom. And
yeah,
it's a lot of guys will take it as an ego thing, a pecking order thing, you know, assholes about it. But
yeah.
really is you have to know everything from the bottom. Like everyone does ask me, like, dude, because again, you see me, I'm all in house, dude. We're doing our concrete, we're doing our plumbing, our electrical, our HVAC, everything. And they're like, well, how did you like learn all that? And it's like, well, I just every day I built upon the knowledge that I
Hmm.
had before. And I
Right.
literally started with learning how to dig a square fucking foundation footing
Yeah.
hole, then
Exactly
how
where
to
it's
tie the
supposed to go.
rebar, right? You
Yep.
know, you literally start from the ground up and you will learn
Yeah.
everything. But that's you have to do it. If you
Yeah.
can't sweep and you can't dig, you've already failed,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. I just like, don't get me wrong. The guys that are in administrative roles that do a great job, they do a damn good job.
And they are needed. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
They
When you
are
get to a
needed.
certain point, they
Yeah.
are needed. Yeah.
Yeah. But like some people, like for me, when I got put in that project management role, it was just because I could smile under pressure. That's it.
Yeah, yeah,
That was the reason why they wanted to take the salespeople out of that role and put someone else in that role to just basically be the punching bag for the clients.
yeah.
Um, and that happens a lot to people. Like a lot of guys that just that they have those soft skills, that can turn like a bad situation to a good one. But at some point, I'm telling you, because it happened to me, you just get so punched around so much, it just breaks you.
Yeah.
Especially like if you cannot do the hard thing in fixing those problems that are causing all that to happen. That was another problem with that company I was working for, is they didn't want to hear any of the solutions I had. They just wanted me to keep taking the punches, and didn't matter if it broke me or not.
Well, and that's why I work with that company, Studio Shed, is because yeah, the first year I was with them, there was some like growing pains,
Yeah.
but they were receptive to everything. Now billing's a little bit different. Now, you know, it wasn't just me, there's installers everywhere, but
Right.
they actually listened to their installers. And now our system is like even better. Now we're more
Yeah.
efficient. Now we're just making more money. You know what I mean?
I'm
And
surprised you're wanting to do the HVAC thing and not um something bigger with them.
no, dude, I don't want bigger, man. I don't want bigger. I've
You
done
sound
big,
like
dude.
me. I
I started out. I
don't.
started how I got my license is I worked for a guy in San Francisco for five
Uh-huh.
years, and we did retrofits on apartment buildings. So there was a
Okay.
earthquake retrofit mandate. So I've put in the biggest foundations you've ever seen. I
Yeah.
actually helped. So Salesforce Tower, the
Yeah.
pumper that used to pump our concrete, he was pumping that and stuff, and the pumpers needed help and shit. I actually helped pump that foundation. We did a
Yeah.
1,000 yards in a night, and there
Wow.
was 10 pumps going all around the whole fucking thing.
Wow.
And then there was
Man, that would have
also,
been a sight to be on, man. Seeing 10
bro, it's
pumps going
insane. They
down.
do have a video. The concrete company, that the
Yeah,
finishing
yeah.
company, they have a video on it, and it's insane.
I can't
But dude,
imagine the mixing at the plant.
oh yeah, huge. Oh, there was all every concrete plant in the Bay Area was
Uh-huh.
supplying that pour that night. It was done at night, and
Uh-huh.
every plant in like a 50-mile radius was bringing concrete. Like it was insane.
Wow.
Central, CMAX, like everybody.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, so and then I put steel beams in. I've got crazy photos. I have one
Yeah.
like, slideshow video on my YouTube
Yeah.
of it, and I just hate it now, dude. I hate the problems. I hate the stuff. I hate big projects. And
Yeah.
two, like the other installers take the bigger ADUs. You see, I do a lot of small ones
Uh-huh.
because I told them, I go, I'll do a few bigger ones a year,
Yeah.
but I want the small ones, dude. I like to come in,
Yeah.
bang it, get it done, and go on to the next one.
Yeah.
I like it that way.
I sort of, it's that's kind of the reasons why I keep doing repair work. I think I told you, like, I've
Yeah, no, yeah,
I want to do remodel. Like, that was kind of the thing, is like, I like clients. I'm very much, I like the people I work for. I like getting to know the families. I know it's a lot more involved than new construction. Um, as far as, like, protections and,
yeah,
the soft skills and stuff of interacting with people. Um, and but at the same time, like, repairs, like, that old man, he taught me how to do a lot of this stuff by myself. Um, and you can get in, get out on some of them. Some of them are pretty dang involved. Uh, but yeah, that's kind of the reasons I like it. Is just because some of them are so fast. You just get in, get out, make your money. But a lot of guys don't want to do it. A lot,
yeah,
a lot of people don't like the bugs that come along with the stuff you have to fix.
yeah,
Um, it can be very nasty. It can be very complex. Um, but I found that it pays well, honestly, for me. I can't break into remodeling somehow with my prices. Builders will pay those prices, but um, but homeowners won't. And I don't
yeah.
know if
That's
that's,
the one thing we have on our side is everything is so high end here in
yeah,
California that at least in my area that
yeah,
I don't know, dude. Like, yeah, everybody's pretty much in the ballpark for price. Like, nobody's really saying no, but they really are buying you at this point.
yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
and
It's
that's
more
that's
personal.
what I was going back with, that whole, like how my business is run, is like, when you're
Yeah,
hiring me, you're hiring me. You're not
yeah,
hiring a whole crew. And like you said, like, you don't want to get into, like, the bigger stuff. Like, I do like that more personal aspect of it. Um, the one downside about being remodeling is you definitely have to, like, be a broader, um so, like, carpentry. Let's go,
yeah,
like, the peachy carpenter. So, if you said to me, man, hey, all I want you to do is frame. All I want you to do is just work with wood, like millwork, whatever. Just that stuff, I would be tickled, man.
yeah,
Absolutely tickled. I'd be happy every single day. But in remodeling, that's never the case. It's so hard to find a drywall guy to come in to, like, just do a single room, because they don't want
yeah,
that. It's hard to find a roofer to just do a shed or a gable, like, addition. Like, it's hard to find that. Like, so, like, what ends up happening is remodeling, because I tell people, like, if you really, really, really want to get into remodeling, it takes a long time. It takes a long time and a lot of dedication. And if you're just going to learn from the job site, it could take you about, a good 5 to 7 years before you have everything under your belt. Um,
it's gonna take you
I
that long to buy all the tools, anyways.
buy
You know
all
what
the
I mean?
tools, get the hand knowledge, like, get the guys you're working with to trust you enough to do it. Golly, I didn't even touch a circular saw for the first year. Like, I was the grunt running everything, and getting up on the ladder to be the hand for the like, lead installer. Like, for a year, all I did was just watch guys.
Yeah,
Um, and let's take this into account. So I got into this at 30. I'm 40 now. Um, and so that's another conversation, man, about, like, people that are older that want to get into the trades, that you didn't get in at a younger age. That's why,
yeah,
like, I always think of guys like you or Blake that, like, had that chance to get into it young. Like, man, what a leg up you guys have. Like, you had all your strength, all your, like, there's also the young buck out there, right?
yeah.
You want to put your nose to the ground and sniff it all out, and you're not going to be completely focused on the job. But no, like, the only reason I think I progressed so much is because I was constantly learning, teaching
Yeah.
myself, like, looking up for YouTube videos, Instagram. Like, Instagram was, like, just popping off for tradespeople, like Awesome Framers, Canadian Carpenter, like those guys. Like, I followed them all the time. Just anything. Like, if I could soak it, even to this day, I'm still trying to find knowledge. The problem is that a lot of this knowledge is I've gotten to the point now where people repeat things over and
Yeah,
over. So
gets very
yeah.
repeated.
So
Exactly.
I'm not like looking for that knowledge anymore as much as like it's like now I want to get the books and like flip through the books and see, okay, what's in here that I just don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Like the very like
Well, the books you
anybody,
need to be getting are from literally like the 1900s or shit
dude.
like that. Like they built in like such a different way,
Oh yeah.
and stuff, and that's like that's where I'm finding new knowledge now. Is like I'm getting really into bricks and how
Yeah.
bricks were made
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and like that goes down a whole rabbit hole too.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and stuff, and then yeah, just like Victorian architecture and all that
Yeah.
stuff. I actually like one of my ideas is I might have in the future like a molding or trim company that does
Yeah.
old style
Yeah.
trimming like that,
Cutting your own knives and everything and getting them
but
back to how it was.
in modern materials, because there
Okay.
is one Victorian up in Napa that was by a client of mine, and they
Uh-huh.
had to redo all of it for fireproofing and stuff.
Yeah.
They actually matched it pretty well with all like Hardy Backer products.
Right.
Now they had to do a lot of custom milling of those products to get everything perfect, but at least Hardy
Yeah.
Backer had all like the scale shingles and stuff like that. They already had a
Hmm.
line of that, so that was matchable. And then they took a bunch of stuff. But if all those things were actually already done for you,
Yeah.
um, again, everybody complains that they don't build Victorians and stuff anymore. I think something of a renaissance will come back to that.
Oh, definitely.
But what we're competing with, especially here in California, is all our material fire laws and earthquake laws,
Yeah.
like building code wise. So, like everything brand new, man, has to be fire resistant. You can only use like hardy
Yeah.
board siding. There's no more wood siding. There's none of that
Y'all
shit.
y'all have gone ahead and accepted that everything gives you cancer out there then?
Bro, every single thing you walk into a building and there's this thing called Prop 65. It's supposed to label
Yeah.
anything that could possibly have like cancerous effects. But
Yeah.
you'll literally walk into a building and it'll be like, this building was made in the 1970s. You might get cancer, just by the way. Prop 65. Every piece of mail you get, it's like the ink
Yeah.
in this is made from uranium. Like you might die.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, bro, you walk around everywhere. Yeah, everybody has to accept that they're gonna get cancer here because apparently it's
Uh
in everything, you
I
know?
swear, man, that's like the biggest running joke out here is that like everything has the big label saying in the state of California or something it might cause
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah, dude, we
And
can't have certain gas engines shipped here. Like it's really fucking it gets crazy. It's weird, dude. This place is really weird because it's so heavy
yeah,
on rules, but it
yeah.
also isn't. Like
Yeah, I heard
it's
what you
really
said to
weird. Everyone
Blake.
looks the other way and
Yeah.
stuff, and like it's weird. It's a weird dynamic here.
It is weird too because like we have like we follow the oh man, I'm drawing a blank. IBS, International Builder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. International Builder Show.
No. Whatever the codes are pulled from, man. IBC, International Builder Codes. So we're always 2 years. Jeez Louise, everybody's talking about IBS and JLC and everything on socials right now, and all these like letters. Um, so like we follow 2 years behind, but like some things are overlooked here with codes and everything, and there's a lot of like left up to the builder or
Yeah.
left up to the resident to figure out. Um, and I wouldn't say that Georgia is a very heavily regulated state. It is. It just depends on the county you're in. Um,
Okay.
like, oh my, so I told you about the Atlanta sprawl coming out
Yeah.
this way, and somebody showed me a overview of like how housing prices per county has been changing over the years. And there is one county that just does not care. That is east of my county. And if you looked at that map, all the house prices are going up, right? Except for that one county
Yeah.
where like they do not care about the codes near as much, but also they don't want anybody moving into their county. and
Yep.
you see where the house prices are very affordable there. But I'm telling you right now, even me living next, like our county next, if I ever go work out there, I'm getting pulled over. Like
Yeah.
the cops pull you over. They find the way to get their money. Like for anything, they'll find the littlest thing. You might be 1 mile over the speed limit. They'll pull you over. Um, but yeah, we don't have near as many. I don't think our regulations are near as strict. And I wonder like how like the difference is between me working here and then you guys there, like how heavily regulated that is. And I always have that conversation with people about like the red seal, how Canada and Europe, Australia, like their carpenters have to get the red seal certification to even just be a carpenter.
Uh-huh.
Like, how much of that do you think will eventually come to the United States? Because I keep thinking about
All of
all,
it. The United States will one day be Europe. Like
yeah,
the way you have to think about it is right now the United States is still very young and everything, but
yeah,
it's now starting to solidify class wise.
yeah,
So yeah, everything will become Europe. Everything will become
yeah.
overregulated,
Well,
very
this is
expensive,
my
high
this is my
tax
thought
rates.
with all these venture capitalists. So there's the venture capitalist people buying up the plumbing companies, the HVAC, the electrical, but they're not touching carpenters. They're not touching like. So I don't know how you
Well,
guys say
because
it.
those, so here's the thing. BlackRock just did a deal, I think, literally yesterday or Friday, of
Yeah.
doing like 100 billion into trade schools of all sorts.
They're
So
getting started.
they know that they've bought up a lot of roofing, a lot of plumbing, a
Uh-huh.
lot of electrical, a lot of HVAC, right? They
Yeah.
know those businesses are scalable, they know they're easy to market. They have
Yeah.
that, like you said, the carpentry stuff, the drywall stuff, all that other stuff is weird. But
Yeah.
they're not gonna screw around with trying to run those companies. What they're gonna do is they're just gonna educate the next generation of them.
Yeah.
They will
So,
indoctrinate those people
yeah.
into loving BlackRock so that when they start their business, they're hitting BlackRock up for funding
Yeah.
or business mentorship or something like that.
There
That's how
is
they'll bleed into those.
there so my thought is because carpenters don't have to do a red seal here in the United States or any kind of like um regulations to just be a carpenter.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that at some point there will be a red seal program or whatever we call it for carpenters. So because here's the thing. Okay, you spend all this time to get your license as an HVAC tech, a plumber, electrician. It's the same thing as going to college, right? You're kind of stuck to that trade because you put in all this time, you put in all this money, and you don't want to um, just throw that time away. You don't want it to be wasted time. So any company that can pull you in and turn you into a number, um, they're going to do it. And eventually at some point they will do it to carpenters. But the problem is, and the only reason I don't think we have the Red Seal program is because the cost of an electrician, the cost of a plumber, the cost of an HVAC for having those licenses is why they cost so much for that person, the time they put in. Could you imagine the time put in for a carpenter and then how much our housing would go up because of that licensure? So, because
Well,
right now,
see,
all
here
you
in
got to,
California, we have every trade has a separate license, and then there's me. I have my GC,
yeah,
and you can have three licenses in California. So, like for me, what I'm doing, and that's why I sell like being
as a
here.
GC,
GC is just general
yeah,
B. So yeah, general contractor. I could do carpentry and any and then two other trades, right?
uh huh,
But I can also attach sub licenses to that. So I'll end up with a C20 in electrical, and then whatever the HVAC, it's like a C50 or something.
uh
So
huh,
I'll attach an HVAC and electrical to my GC license too.
right,
But a GC, like you could do a framing contractor,
yeah,
or a finished carpentry license only, or
yeah,
you could do a GC, which includes carpentry. So that's like how carpenters get licensed, I guess, if that makes sense.
yeah. It's
But
I don't
again, you're
know.
right. It's not like really determined. You know what I mean?
No, no. It's in, we were having the buddy I was having this conversation with. It's just like a lot of us were trained by other guys. We didn't go to school for this. And if
Yep.
you're just curious enough, you dig deeper. Um, because if not, you'll end up as well, that's just how it's always been, you know? those guys. I mean, they can have fun with their East Wing hammers and everything, right? Is that the
Yeah.
joke? um, no, I'm just curious how this is all going to play out because again, back to like the trades being the Wild West, or at least how it has been for me as somebody who came from corporate America. Like I watched as a landscaping company was bought up here locally. I'm guessing by some investment company. I don't know
Yeah.
who. They did very, very well. The owner has to stay on for so many years to get his buyout.
Yep.
And I don't know where they stand now, but I just know that the project manager because um the project manager, the head project manager left that company and took all the best guys, started his own company, and now that company is not doing well at all. And you hear more and more now about how these companies are being bought out and then eventually they just close up shop, leave people hanging because now the venture capitalist people are not getting their money back, so they figure why keep it going. Um, I'm curious because like not that it's hard to control tradespeople, but there's two things. One, it's going back to like that leadership. If a good guy leaves the company, he could grab the best people and take them with him. It
Yep.
happens all the time, right? Um, but on top of that, all these companies that are being bought up by these venture capitalist companies, um, they're generally mom and pop shops. And the reason that they have a good reputation in their town or in their community is because of those relationships that were built. And then once a venture capitalist comes in, they just start like tearing the company apart and building it in their image of how they can make money. Then all of a sudden that gets lost, right? Um, the only ones I could see probably doing well are like the franchise companies that end up like slowly franchising something over time.
Yeah.
And golly, I can't stand them either.
Honestly, dude, the trades are just hard to scale. The trades
It
are hard to
is,
be
right?
big. There's not a lot of people who do it. Here's what I think. I don't think individual I actually this is what I actually believe. I think everybody one day will actually be essentially a 1099 employee in their own
Yeah,
contract. I really
yeah.
do believe that. I believe
And
you're
it's
literally going to hire a subcontractor to do the labor, like kind of how you do
yeah.
on big projects, but in everything. And
And
individualism will still be a
yeah,
thing, but I do, at least for California, the
yeah,
regulation will still be high. You're still going to have to be licensed. You're still going to have to carry
yeah,
insurance. I think that's how it's going to be.
yeah,
But also, dude, you guys back there who actually have lax laws and stuff, I mean,
yeah,
there's a whole lot of the country who is not even close to being as regulated as California and probably never will be, in
yeah.
all honesty. There's just not a what it is all about population size. If you go look at
Uh-huh.
population
Oh
size and
yeah.
density, that's when this huge amount of regulation happens. You know what I
Well, it's
mean?
like when the
Too many
county
chefs in the
comes.
kitchen.
Yeah, the county here, they're very like blunt about saying like, yeah, you own this house, but you're not going to own this house in 50 years and it's still going to be our problem, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, um that's, one of the things is protecting the people down the line. And I totally get that. Trust me, there's a lot more mini cowboys out there than are in our area. We're very regulated by our county. I feel like here in Athens. I'm talking about the one next to us. It's not very
yeah,
regulated.
yeah.
Um,
But again, see, and that's what makes it not a safe investment. That's what keeps
yeah.
investment money out of it. That's why those investors are going there because money only goes to safe prospects. You know what I mean? If
So
that makes sense.
when I asked you like about being first generation or second generation business, is that something that's on your mind with your kids?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. In all honesty, I would love for him to take it over, but
Yeah.
I don't expect it. And yeah, I don't know. They're still very young. I still have to see how
Yeah.
they become as like individuals and stuff. But
Yeah.
the thing is like
Like
dude,
I'm not saying like
you
if you
have to want to be a
yeah,
business owner. There's
yeah,
literally nothing else I could do. And
uh-huh.
I just cannot work for people. Like the guy who gave me my license,
Yeah,
I worked with him for 5 years, but when I met him, he needed a crew and I needed a license. I said, I'll work for you for this amount of time. Are you going to sign off when I'm done? And
uh-huh.
he just let me pretty much, he said, okay, but you're going to make me money. As long as you
Yeah,
make me money for
yeah.
those 5 years, like that motherfucker goes surfing mid fucking day, dude. He'd show up, he'd still be wet from the fucking beach, you
Right,
know?
right.
And we would bang out a retrofit a month. Me, one other guy, and then like we'd have laborers come in for the digging and
Yeah,
stuff like that. But we had that system down. We were making money hand over fist, and
yeah,
but that was the deal. And then once that was done, that's the only reason it worked out. I pretty much was my own guy. You know what I mean? At
yeah,
19 years old, I was a foreman telling everybody what to do. The
yeah.
guy was off the job site,
Man,
all that stuff. A lot of learning there, but that's what got me to where it was. And God, what was I saying?
oh man, I forgot what I even
We got,
asked. Oh, about like your kids taking over your business.
yeah, and
Um,
what I would say, you got to have the drive. If and
yeah,
I've seen a lot of kids destroy their parents' business because they just
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have the drive.
I have too. I work around a lot of guys that are constantly trying to figure out how to sell their business.
Yeah,
Um, and I am not trying to do that. I'm just trying to get through life. I'm gonna tell you right now, the last 3 years, like, I've been meaning to try to like get the words together for a post because like my biggest thing is I'm following some contractors now. Like their whole thing is like, look, we've been working hard for years and we just want to be happy.
yeah.
Like we don't want to work 16, 20-hour days anymore. We just want to show up, do our job because we love what we do. And make a living and be happy. And I want that for my kids. Whatever they want to do in life, I want them to do it. But also at the same time, I'm on the college ain't the way to go. Right. Like I
Well,
went to
I'll
college.
tell you this, man. Like I have a lot of white collar clients of me, like kind of say stuff
Hmm.
like that and everything. And I go, dude, you don't even know what your kids are going to be doing for a living. Look
Right.
how much the trades have changed. Look how much everybody's life has changed since we were children. Like
Yeah.
you never actually imagined yourself in this position. Like when I was 15, I thought I was going to be a cop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so even though I grew up in it, I was always trying to like find something else. I even had a stint in life insurance for a bit. You know what I mean? So it's like you have no clue, and that's the thing. They unfortunately have to like go down their own path, and the
Yep.
only people I've seen successful in taking over their parents' company is they've truly wanted to, and they've truly just
Yeah.
fallen into it.
Yeah.
Right? The kid's gonna come
No,
work
you're
for me
you're
during the
you're right.
summer. Like that'll
You're
always happen and everything like that. But I'm never going. I can't push. Hey, you're gonna take over the business one day, because
yeah.
hey, my parents'
I
neighbor.
guess I
They
guess I didn't want to say like take over like taking over a business because like the one thing I find is like the guys who do are second generation, they see that struggle and like their dad or their mom went through and they piggyback on their
yeah,
success and they tend to do very well. Now again at the same time they could also depending on how they were raised, they could also tank it like you were saying. But
yeah.
I guess what I was trying to get more at is like are you because I again another thought I've been thinking about is like how should we be pushing like our the people younger than us that are elementary, middle school, high school, really
Honestly,
not
you're not gonna like what I have to hear. I think
yeah
I think we don't have to do any more work. You're either gonna do it or you're not.
yeah.
Uh,
Well,
and
I tell
I hate
people
to
with the
say it,
trades.
not even with the college thing. I was there during the heyday of college getting pushed, right?
Yeah,
It wasn't the kids who made that decision. It was our parents. Our parents sent us to
yeah,
college as bragging rights. It has nothing to do with our generation. And
right.
again,
You're right. You are very right
you
about
know what I
that.
mean?
I was pushed to go to college, and in hindsight,
My dad had
um,
a welding company. If he held out during
yeah,
'08 and gave me the welding company, imagine how much money I'd be making now with
yeah,
a foundation. But again, I also would probably sue my father because I cannot do business with him. I love him to death. We have a great
right.
relationship, but when it comes to working together, we
Uh,
butt heads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
So this is the thing I've been thinking about. So you know how like there's this push like if you're a troubled kid go into the military kind of thing, right?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm not saying troubled kids need to go into like the trades or anything because that's also like the second route for it. But it's just for anybody you don't know what to do go in the military or something. Like I feel like cuz here's okay, I'm going to get personal with you. I before my so I had my oldest at 29. Um and I would say I was not a man before that. When my kid came into this world, my entire like life got rocked, right? And it just was like problem after problem after problem. Like I could not like I felt like a failure as a father in that first year of his life. But when I became a carpenter, I got put with a man. And I say this to this day, that's the guy who put this foundation down and built me up to be a man.
yeah,
Like I am now at a point where it's like, I don't care what happens in life, I'm going to figure it out.
yeah,
And it wasn't because of um, this white collar life. That didn't teach me anything about like taking care of myself. Um, it was becoming a tradesperson and being able to go out and what I tell people is I go out and I hunt and kill every single day. That's why I'm not an employee for somebody because when the slow season comes, if they don't have work, I'm not going to sit around waiting. I'm going
yeah.
to go out there and kill myself. And I learned that from a tradesman. Um, and so like my wife and I are not adamant about pushing our kids into college. I think that's you and I, our generations. We were just pushed, just go to college, do whatever. And that was such a dumb idea. So much debt, so much wasted time. Like, yes, I use my degree to some degree, but really, like, what if I had like, and I know what it's like to be 18 years old, um, and not like really be focused on work, but at the same time, it's just like, what if I had actually worked with some guys that did build me up at a very young age
Yeah.
to stand on my own 2 feet at 18, 19, 20, not at 30 when I started this. Um,
Well, I think everybody has college just backwards. Okay,
yeah,
like me, actually been thinking about going back to school, but for accounting and stuff like that,
but
because just
now you've lived life.
and that's what I mean. I think everybody just
Yeah,
has it backwards. When you're young, you should just graduate high school and go in the trenches, figure out what the fuck
yeah,
is going on, and then you should go to college and
right.
well, I go to a 4 year no, but I'll go back to my community college, learn a bunch of new stuff, learn a bunch of admin stuff that I
But
now need in my life,
yeah, that's
and
now
go
the
and go from
thing.
there. You know,
That's the thing too, is like, okay,
it's just
four
a tool.
years.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. 4 years is a lot of time. And I'm going to tell you about a third of it's bullshit. About a third of it is just it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't help you to your career, like how you're going to advance. It's not teaching you exactly what you need to know.
yeah,
And that's another wasted like aspect of college is like I remember a buddy of mine had a bowling class in college. Like who the hell needs to know how to bowl?
yeah.
Like a whole like semester towards bowling. Um, and even he agrees agrees that yeah, when you're 18, 19 years old, yeah, I'll take a credit for bowling. Um, but it's like when you're an adult, you understand your time's very limited. You don't have a lot of it. And so you want to be with the people that, are you connect with the most, talk about things that like you also agree with, but also not waste your time and like bullshit things that not that, it's either got to be enjoyable or something that's worth the time.
Well, and
Um,
also, unfortunately, when you're young, you do need to focus on money. Like that's what you
yeah,
need mostly, and
I get
that's
on
why we
young
have it
guys.
backwards, man. When you're
I get
young,
on
the
young
only thing you should
guys.
be, and that's what finally got me
Yeah,
like into the trades because like I said
yeah,
in high school I was thinking about doing all these other things, but I started working. I worked at a movie theater for a bit, but I also was doing side
yeah,
work and construction, and I was making way more doing that shit, side work,
yeah,
maintenance stuff, and I was like, ah, dude, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? So I finally left that
yeah,
like movie theater job and never went back, and that's what like kept me in it. But I also yeah, I don't know. I just felt it. I just knew it. And so I said, all right, I have fun doing it. money's coming easy, like we're gonna go this route.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can always go back to college. I can always go back to something
Yeah.
else, you know?
I
Like,
keep wondering even now at 40 if there's something like what would I go to college for now? What would be worth my time? Because at this point, like I was telling my buddies, like 40 is like where you got to start thinking like is the money I'm putting my is the money I'm taking and investing into is it really worth it? Or should I
yeah.
be investing it into like a 401k or not a 401k?
Well, and
Hell, I
that's
don't want
the
to
other
go
thing
for
about
IRA.
the selling the business is a lot of guys can't count on that as retirement. Everybody
Yeah.
needs to be putting their money away in other stuff. And if your business sells, great, but you got to have a
Yeah.
retirement set up, even if you don't sell that business.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of young guys on your job sites?
No, I mean everybody's well, I don't know. I'm 30 and everybody's pretty much around my age. I have one guy who's
Uh-huh.
40, and then I have like
Yeah.
one kind of apprentice kid, but he's 26 or something.
Yeah.
And then the rest who show up that are subs are pretty much older. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because when I started this, I was 30 and I was a grunt and we could not get anybody. So that was one of the reasons why I left that older crew is because one of them, every time we would get a young guy in, they would last 2 weeks and then they would leave.
Yeah.
Um, 2 weeks at most. And one of the older guys, when he came back to work for us one year, he said, "You'll never not be a grunt." He's like, "That doesn't matter how much you know, like you're always going to be the grunt until we get a new one that stays."
Yeah.
Um, and so like I very rarely get young guys around me. Usually it's our age. Um, like all the guys that are in their 60s, they're still working, but they've slowed down so much. Like
Yeah, dude.
they don't want certain work, and I don't blame them. Like they don't want to get in ladders, they don't want to go in crawl spaces. Um, but like it's there is one guy, he's 26 years old and very talented, but the hardest thing, and if he watches this, he's going to hear I'm going to say exactly what I tell him every single time. I need him to commit. I need him
Yeah.
to go out, buy his own tools. I need him to commit, not for the sole fact of like the business that he's with is a good business. I need him to start thinking about his future and being a carpenter because he's not going to um, when slow seasons come, he needs to be able to again hunt and kill his own food. And the same thing is with like all the other young guys that come around, like teaching them to just pay attention. That's a hard one to teach them. Um, and again,
Yeah.
at the same time, I can't fault him
Well, the
because when
other thing
I
is,
was
dude,
18,
these young guys aren't having kids and stuff. You talked about having a kid.
yeah,
You don't think you were a man. I
yeah,
remember my wife got pregnant. I was 26. Was I 20? It was 25 or 26.
uh-huh,
And we were living in San Jose. I was doing the maintenance, and I was doing this side job, replacing this panel in this house. And it was 9 o'clock at night, man. I hadn't finished yet, and
uh-huh,
I was so fucking close, but I was dead fucking tired,
yeah,
dead tired. And I almost just left and came back the next day, but I was like, shit, dude, my wife's got this kid in her. You know what I mean? Like I gotta go. And like, dude, that day the switch flipped and
yeah,
I never got tired again. You know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah,
yeah. And that's the thing is they're not starting families, they're not doing all that stuff. So they don't have the other thing that is needed in that drive is necessity, unfortunately.
yeah.
Necessity is what drives you to figure out what
Yeah. I always tell them like the best and worst thing that ever one of the best and worst things. There's some I've had, we all have our roller coaster in life where things are just amazing and then you hit a
yeah, yeah.
pit. But one of the so I never thought growing up Kentucky is a great state. I need to start with that. Kentucky was a good state to grow up in. But I did not feel like it was the state for me. It's why I never really went back. But leaving home, and that's something I tell young guys a lot. Like if you just don't feel like this is your place, you can go anywhere. We got 50
Yep.
states, baby. Like pick up, go where you want, and start over. But here's the catch. If you ain't going with anybody, it's going to be hard. It's going to be lonely. You're going to have to figure out how to meet people. You're going to end up working a lot because you're going to say, well, what am I doing with my time?
Yep.
Um, and one of the other great things about the trades, man, is like you move anywhere, there's always work. Always. But it's teaching these young guys to like just step out and just take risk. Like I swear, like I tell people all the time, the biggest thing that I've always had going for me my whole life is that I had to find food.
Yep.
Like mommy and daddy weren't next door to me. So like if I couldn't afford rent, guess what? Mom and dad ain't letting me move back in because they're 8, 10 hour drive away. So you figure it out. And it's hard to get these young guys because I would always tell them, especially when I moved to Athens, I'm like, my mommy and daddy's 10 hours away. Where's yours? 30 minutes? Okay. You got to move out of your apartment. You can go move in with them. You can still be in work tomorrow. Um, teaching them to like step up and just like see the bigger picture of this. And I still, man, I always try to put myself in their shoes too, because if I was 18, still living with my mom and dad, I guess I wouldn't care near as much either.
Yep.
Um, that's the hard thing is always putting yourself in their shoes. Um, but yeah, kids change it, man. Kids change a lot. It's the reason why I've worked so hard over these years is because again, when I had my first child, um, so my oldest is 11, my youngest is 4. And there's a big gap between there because we couldn't afford another child for a
Yep.
very long time. And we didn't want to bring in another child into the world that had to endure. Um, so when I left that PM job, basically the best way to, I'm not going to like people, there are people that have had way worse stuff going in life, but we were at poverty wages. We went from being like having, a really good salaries
Yeah.
in our white collar jobs. Then now all of a sudden, like, I think I was making $12 an hour when I started as a carpenter,
Yep.
and it took 6 months before I got a $2 raise, and then it stayed there
Yeah.
for as long as I was with those guys. Um, and so people have to understand, especially with the trades, people think that there's a lot of money in it, and there is. Once you get to the point where you can be left alone and
Correct.
you show up with your tools and you can be trusted.
When you can
And
solve problems, that's when
yeah,
you make money.
and I work around so many guys that the moment the boss leaves, their speed halves immediately. Like they go from going to snail's pace. um and I always look at them and they're always like, why are you busting your butt? And I always say to them, I have other jobs to be on.
Yep.
I'm not this builder here, he's my friend. I'm helping him out. Like once he's done with me, I got another job to be at. And also I got a family to feed. I got a mortgage to pay. Like, I have aspirations. I have dreams. Um and I think I like to think I've done pretty well here. But it's only because I've had that hustle the whole entire time. It's slowed down in the last year because I knew mentally I was again burning the candle at three ends
Yep.
and I knew something had to change. Um, but yeah, until life punches you in the mouth, I don't know how else to get people to change differently. Sorry, man, I'm fidgeting with this
No, it's
thing.
fine, dude.
I'm in my tool trailer and I'm like, here's a tool I can fidget with this.
Yeah, no
So,
worries. No, I
all
think
of us got
this was a
ADHD.
great conversation, a great interview. I'm pretty sure we almost hit 2 hours here, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that. That's amazing, man.
No, I think we
Dude,
hit a lot of
I
stuff.
could talk. I could talk, man.
No, I love it. That's why we do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this was good. But
No.
yeah, like I said, I don't think it's up to us. It's up to the next generation is finally like, kicking it in the ass and figuring it out. And I think
Yeah.
one day it will happen. But
If any
we
young
gotta,
guy jumps into this
yeah,
podcast and they're listening to it and they just like they want it, like the one thing I can tell them, because I tell anybody, it doesn't even have to be a young person, anybody who wants to get in the trades, don't let your first experience be what dictates how you think working in the trades is going to be.
yeah, everybody's different. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, everybody's different.
Yeah.
I lucked out, man. I can tell you right now, the man who built me up, I lucked out like tremendously. I could not have had a better mentor starting out in this. But I know a lot of guys that they want to get in the trades, they go find a guy and they're a jerk. And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
there's a lot of jerks in the trades, um, but that's not every crew.
Yeah.
And it's nice to go work for the bigger companies, but you're not going to get like, I don't know, man. I haven't exactly worked for the bigger companies in my town, just like maybe a couple times here and there. And the experience are very much more corporate than they are like
Personal.
how
Yeah.
I huh?
More, they're
How
not as
what?
personal,
Yeah, they're not as personal. Like you feel like a number.
Yeah,
You just feel
100%.
like a tool in the chest. So if you can find a good GC, a good builder, a good like whoever's like smaller, more compact, like 2, 3 crews. I tell people the best crew sizes for any company is 2 to 3. You like any owner can be real involved with 3 crews.
Yeah.
Once you get to like 5, then all of a sudden it really becomes more about planning. But yeah, don't be beat down by like your first experience or even your second or your third. You could walk onto any crew, and as long as you're willing to walk in and man up or buck up or whatever, like you'll do all right.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Anyway, yeah, 2 hours is a long time, man.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, you get back to the family. I'm gonna do the same thing.
Yeah,
And
man.
I'll probably upload this by tomorrow morning, so I'll send it to you when it's all up and everything.
Tomorrow morning, that would be Monday. Man, what
Yeah,
am I
yeah.
doing? Golly, I've been getting ready for this job that's starting tomorrow. So yeah, man, that's awesome. It was cool talking to you. I didn't expect this to happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, good talking to you too, man. I had a good time.
Yeah, man. See ya.
All right, dude. Talk to you. Bye.